We always say that failure is the best way to learn. But for them, failure is just too risky. Imagine this: you're hungry, and your kids are also hungry, and you only have enough money to either buy fresh vegetables or a pack of noodles. Which one would you choose? Now, in that situation, you would probably say that you'd choose the vegetables. But the world's poorest have been choosing the instant noodles all along. So, what's going on here? Are they foolish? Are they just wasteful? Or is there actually something deeper that we haven't yet understood? Poverty isn't just about money, it's about the risk that they face. It's also about the decisions that they make. And it's also about the invisible traps that they encounter along the way. So maybe we've been trying to understand poverty the wrong way. Two Nobel winning economists, Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, they think fighting poverty isn't just about giving money. They think poverty should be understood, why they make the choices, how they think, how they decide, and how they try to survive. And what they discovered might actually change how we see poverty forever. But what does it actually mean to understand the poor? Now, poverty is filled with impossible choices, and those choices might look irrational from the outside. Now, let's take a look at some of those choices, starting with something as simple as what to eat. Let's start with food. If you think you're struggling, you think you would need nutritious energy to help you work. But here's a finding in the book: instead of buying more nutritious food, they instead buy tastier foods, like a sweet snack instead of vegetables, or a fried food instead of fruits. And at first, that sounds irrational. But think about it: if your whole life is stressful and uncertain, sometimes a little sweet taste is the only luxury that you can afford. So people trade long term health for a moment of comfort. But this creates a vicious cycle where the poor nutrition leads to worse health. And the worse health means you are less likely to have a better paying job. And this traps you in poverty even deeper. Now let's talk about politics. Democracy should allow the poor to vote for people who can get them out of their misery. And that means picking the most competent leaders. However, that's not what they do. They choose leaders from their own tribe or from their own religion, and basically people who are familiar to them. And in the poor's unfortunate bias, familiarity is preferred to competence, even if the only familiarity is poverty. So we've seen how poverty shapes the way people vote, but it also shapes how people work and even why they build businesses in the first place. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Well, someone came up with the thought that India has 1 billion entrepreneurs. Who are they? All the street vendors and the little stores that are run by the poor Indians. And if all those people were to be given money and capital, can you imagine the economic activity that would generate? It's a great idea until you ask them why they built the business in the first place. Because if you are an entrepreneur, you should want your child to continue the business, right? But that's not the case. When these people are asked what jobs they want their kids to have in the future, almost none of them said they want their kids to be entrepreneurs. Most of them want their kids to be public servants, which is known for their stability, the exact opposites of entrepreneurs. So this shows that for them, having a business is not about entrepreneurship, but it's rather out of desperation. I want to close this video with a story about risk and hopelessness. It's a story about Ibutina. She used to have a garment business with her husband, until one bad deal with a trusted client causes them to lose 20 million rupiah. And of course, they reported it to the police, but the police further asked for more bribes. And they did arrest the client, but they still couldn't recover the loss. Due to the losses and the stress, they got divorced. And this forced Ibu Tina, with all her four children, to move back with her now disabled mother. Not only that, she has to take care of her eldest daughter, who is unable to either work or study due to a trauma suffered when she was 15. Now, she said that currently she still has no energy to start all over again. And is it understandable to be hopeless in her situation? I would say so. Like Ibu Tina, millions of people are just one bad day away from losing everything. They're not lazy and they're not foolish. They're survivors in a world stacked against them. And until we see that, until we truly understand why the poor do what they do, no amount of charity will be enough. So let's replace blame with understanding and pity with respect, because that is how real change begins.